Okay, so let's start off with Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. You're probably wondering right about now why I don't have some of the coolest music ever from the Legend of Zelda games playing right about now. It's because I actually am going to require a sound clip for my first fun fact for Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time that I have for you, which is the fact that the theme for the Legend of Zelda title screen is also, or it's not also, but it encases the sound for the warp whistle from Super Mario Bros. 3, as well as the original Legend of Zelda warp whistle sound. So let's give it a listen. Pretty cool, right? The next fun fact that I have for you is about Fado. Now, Fado's the Kokiri girl that comes to you in the Lost Woods and asks you to return the potion that's made out of the forest mushroom. She also asks you if you're going to become a Stalfos like Grog did, which is kind of weird, but whatever. Now, if you go behind Saria's house and you go up the ramp during Link's childhood, you'll cross the bridge and then you can see her standing on top of one of the platforms. She comments about what a nice view it is or something like that. Anyway, on top of one of those platforms was not her original position. She was originally depicted sitting on top of the store, which is the red roof building in the Kokiri Forest. The shot of her sitting on the store did make it into some of the earlier releases of the Ocarina of Time cartridges, but was later edited out. Now, the position on the platforms, if you'll notice during Link's adult life, Fado is mainly absent. The reason for that is she was originally drafted as conceptual art to be a sage of wind, for a wind temple as opposed to a forest temple. However, either due to lack of technology at the time or lack of time itself, no one really knows which, the idea for a wind temple was scrapped. Fado as a sage was scrapped along with it, but they did keep her in the game. The idea for a forest temple was drafted, Saria's character was drafted, and history was made. Sorry about that, Fado, but we got a great game out of your loss. Next fun fact that I have for you guys is about the Poe sisters. The Poe sisters are all named after characters in the book Little Women. Joelle or Joel is a Poe, Beth, Amy, and Meg. The cool thing about Meg is when you go back into the main room of the Forest Temple after you killed all the other Poe sisters, Meg can be seen crying and mourning the loss of her sisters. But aren't Poes already dead anyway? So what's up with that, Meg? Let's go now to Majora's Mask. Just because I just talked about them for the Ocarina of Time fun facts, the Poe sisters can all be found and fought in Majora's Mask. They reside in the Iconic Canyon region, so go seek them out and kill you some Poes and have a blast while you're doing it. Next on my list is the face of the Link statue from playing the song Elegy of Emptiness. The statue's face was modeled after the face of Shigeru Miyamoto, who is the Legend of Zelda series creator. Now, did you guys see that statue? The statue looks nothing like Shigeru Miyamoto and is the creepiest thing I've ever seen in a video game. So Shigeru Miyamoto may want to think about getting his money back from the designers of the statue for in-game play. Just a thought. Next up is the Indigo-Gos. The Indigo-Gos is the Zora band, and once you go into Zora Hall and you enter their individual rooms, you'll notice they're all rehearsing. What they're rehearsing are songs from previous Legend of Zelda games. For instance, the first room you go into is Tijo on the drums, and he plays the cave theme from A Link to the Past, while Japus on bass in the next room plays the underworld theme from the original Legend of Zelda. Now, quite fittingly, the last room that you go into houses Evan, who is on piano, and he plays the Game Over jingle from the original Legend of Zelda game. I thought it was kind of cool that the last room you enter plays the last tune that you hear before you run out of hearts on Legend of Zelda. Kind of a fun coincidence. Now, the last fun fact that I have for you goes back to Tijo, who is the drummer. Now, Tijo states that the Zora descendant that has been protecting the Great Bay Temple will have trouble, indicating that maybe Lulu, who is Princess Ruto's counterpart, is the Zora descendant that should be protecting the Great Bay Temple. Now, did you notice Lulu's eggs have been egg-napped, and she has no voice? If that's not trouble, I don't know what is. Let's hook you guys up now with some fun facts about the Wind Waker. Now, if you listen very closely in the game's main theme song, which is not the music playing behind me right now, but you can hear both the Earth God's lyric and the Wind God's aria in the main theme song. You have these two beautiful Celtic sounding pieces of music being meshed together with this one gorgeous Celtic sounding piece of music. It's really pretty. Hey, maybe all of the submerged islands underneath Hyrule are actually Ireland. Nah, I'm just kidding, guys. It was a joke. It felt kind of flat, but laugh with me anyway and boost my self-esteem a little bit. Next fact that I have for you guys is that the game's title is the most commonly said incorrectly throughout the entire Legend of Zelda series. It is meant to be called The Wind Waker as opposed to just Wind Waker according to the game's creators. Sounds to me like somebody's having a pet peeve with the games not being called what they're actually named. But I can tell you this much, if I'm talking with a bud of mine about Wind Waker, I'm pretty much just going to call it Wind Waker, because it's easier to say. Third fact that I have for you guys is that this is the first of 2 games that Link actually speaks. He can be heard telling Medley to come on in the temple. It's not exactly the St. Crispin's Day speech or anything like that, but Link said his first words, so go Link! The fourth and final fun fact that I have for you guys is a little lengthier than the other ones, and that is the fact that the Rito are an evolved form of the Zoras. How do I know this? Well, use a little common sense here. Rito is 1 letter away from Ruto. Ruto was Princess Ruto, she was Princess of the Zoras in Ocarina of Time. Laruto, if you'll notice in the temple, was the sage that was offering her prayers up until Medley got there and took her place. It states very clearly in the text that Laruto is Medley's ancestor. It's the same deal with Makar, which lets me know that the Koroks are actually an evolved form of the Kokiri. It says very clearly in the game again that Fado, hey, there's Fado again, and Fado made it as a Wind Sage this time, just in a male form, so go Fado. But it says Fado is Makar's ancestor, and also the Great Deku Tree states that the Koroks were once humans. Well, I don't think it exactly says humans, but like human childs or something like that. And we all know from Ocarina of Time that the Kokiri are fairy-like children that grew up in the Kokiri forest. So, I found that kind of cool, the way that evolution works in Hyrule. Neat, right? Now let's roll to Ordon Village and give you guys some fun facts about Twilight Princess, which was the first Legend of Zelda game made for the Wii. Twilight Princess is the second Legend of Zelda game that Link speaks in. You can hear him tell Epona to giddy up. Link's just becoming a regular little chatterbox, isn't he? Now, let's go back to Fado. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. We had Fado in Ocarina of Time, and we had Fado in Wind Waker. Where in the world does Fado fit into Twilight Princess? I'll tell you, right now. Fado is the name of a guy that lives in Ordon Village. He's the bigger dude that you see yelling up at Link's house as the credits are rolling. The next fun fact that I have for you guys is a little more linguistic than the first few. Have you guys noticed how similar Ilia from Twilight Princess and Saria from Ocarina of Time are? Both are close to nature, and they were both Link's childhood best friends. What you probably didn't know is that in the Japanese language, R and L are the exact same letter, which would make Ilia Iria and Saria Salia. Pretty neat, right? Yeah, I don't speak Japanese. I ripped that straight from Zelda Wiki, and I'm not too proud to admit it. The next little tidbit I have for you guys is about the fortune teller. Now, the fortune teller is this little side bit you can do in Castletown if you just get bored. You can ask her about fortune or love. If you answer her that you want to ask her about fortune, this text box will pop up while she's looking into her crystal ball, and it just looks like a bunch of gibberish. Read it backwards. It says, "What am I talking about?" backwards. Same token with love. If you select love and you read the gibberish text box backwards, it says, "Please wait, loading takes a while." Isn't that polite? She's being so sweet while she's trying to get her bearings together for your future that she's supposed to already know. Oh well. Now let's move on to my final fun fact for Twilight Princess, and that is the Howling Stones. When you go to the Howling Stones as a wolf, and you howl the little duet thing with the other wolf, you're actually howling songs from previous Legend of Zelda games. For example, on Death Mountain, you howl the Song of Healing from Majora's Mask. Go to Upper Zora River, you're going to howl the Requiem of Spirit from Ocarina of Time. Prelude of Light from Ocarina of Time can be found in Faron Woods. Zelda's Lullaby from Ocarina of Time is howled in the Sacred Grove, and then the Goron Lullaby from Majora's Mask is howled at Lake Hylia. Go to Snow Peak, you're going to howl the Ballad of the Gales from Wind Waker, and then the theme of the Light Spirits from Twilight Princess can be found once you finally reach the Hidden Village. Wow! All of those songs in this one game. Zelda just keeps getting more and more epic. Let's go now to Skyward Sword, which we all know is the latest Legend of Zelda game, and the first Legend of Zelda game chronologically according to the timeline that Nintendo released in Hyrule Historia. I do agree with Skyward Sword's placement because it does tell about the creation of the Master Sword, but don't get me started on the rest of the order. That video's coming later. Moving on, Skyward Sword. Awesome game. I had a blast with it. I didn't know that I was going to like it at first, but I really did the more I played it. Now, let's start off with Fi and Girahim. There's been a lot of speculation that Fi and Girahim are related. I have not been able to find this anywhere online. Mainly, it's just a bunch of theories because their bodies look very similar in the fact that they both have a lot of diamond patterns and they're both sword spirits. Now, Fi we know was created by Hylia the goddess. Girahim, if I had to guess, I would think he was either a reincarnation of Batai, but since he's a sword spirit, I tend to think that Demise possibly created him for the same reason that the goddess created Fi. They do act as counterparts to one another in the game. Pay attention, they're exact opposites. Fi is very to the point and calculated and very emotionless about things that she says. Whereas Girahim, I call him the Demon Lord of Fabulousness because he is the biggest drama queen. He does not care who knows how he feels and why he feels the way he does. I love that about his character. He talks a lot, but so do I. I identify with him. Also, on a side note, and kind of another little fun fact, Girahim is unable to touch the true Master Sword, the Master Sword in its completed form. The first few battles you fight, he can snatch your sword out of your hand. Spoiler alert coming up now. If you don't want to hear it, I would suggest to jump ahead about 10 seconds. But the last battle with Girahim, he can't touch the true Master Sword. You've got the little games that you can go back and play, and he can snatch the sword out of your hand even though you have the Master Sword. But it's a callback. It's not the true Master Sword, but he can't take it out of your hands on the final battle. Now, let's move on to one of my favorite characters, and I'm probably going to catch a lot of heat from this, but that's okay because I'm confident in myself. Let's talk about Tingle. Tingle has pretty much made an appearance in every Legend of Zelda game since Majora's Mask, with the exception of Twilight Princess. Well, he had to have a cameo in Skyward Sword since they left him out of Twilight Princess. So, hook onto the claw shot on top of the academy where you scale the wall and you climb the vines and all that stuff. You'll drop down, you'll see the bath. If you look down the little grate, crawl through a tunnel, drop down into Zelda's room. Tingle as a doll is sitting there on her desk. So Tingle made it into the game. Yay, Tingle! And that about wraps it up for me, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I know I've enjoyed babbling at you. And stay cool, keep rocking the Zelda love, and watch the credits because I've got some awesome music coming. Till next time.